y'all, and welcome to today's video. I am going to be ranking all of the palettes I tried last month. For the month of August, I had a ton of palettes. Some of these actually I started trying like towards the end of July, but I feel like I've used these enough now to where I have my thoughts. I can give y'all a full review, and y'all love when I rank things. I find it very hard, but also fun. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to rank a bunch of eyeshadow palettes. And if you are new here, hey, my name is Heather and makeup makes me happy. Here on my channel, we don't try to be perfect. We just want to have a good time with our makeup, whatever that means. Shimmer, glitter, ranking new eyeshadow palettes. We are here for it. So if that sounds good to you, I do hope that you will subscribe before you leave today, because I upload lots of new content every single week. So this is the place to be if you love new beauty, lifestyle, makeup type of videos. But like I said, we have a lot to get through, so let's jump into it. Always mess up like when I try to count. So when I try to count in my rankings, I am just going to put the number on the screen. That seems to be the best, easiest thing for me. So coming in at the bottom is this quad from Colourpop. This is the Waffle Cone Pressed Powder palette. The reason this is coming in at the bottom is I tried a lot of really great eyeshadow palettes. I really haven't tried anything that's just horrible. So a lot of this is me ranking based on my personal preference, what I'm reaching for the most and what I like the most. I did do a video with this quad, and I felt like 3 of these shades were really nice. This kind of light brown shade and then these 2 more aqua blues I think are really nice. This palette has 3 matte shades and 1 shimmery metallic shade, but this matte brown right here, this dark shade, I think is called Chippy. I just felt like it was very dry. I tried to put it all over the lid, and y'all could see in that video that I really kind of struggled to build up the opacity, not have patchiness. I just overall felt like this was a very dry shade and it was not easy to work with. So for 25% of the palette to be a dud, it just puts this palette at the bottom. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this quad. Honestly, for me, I need 6 or more shades in a palette. Honestly, like 6 to 18 shades is kind of like a great palette size to me. And to only have 4 shades and to have one of those kind of be a dud, I just don't love it. Now, this isn't a terrible shade. I created a look that I really liked. I feel like, especially if you're just using this, you know, for a liner or something like that, this is definitely a workable shade. So I'm not saying you can't create a good look with this, because you definitely can. It's just when I compare it to the rest of the palettes, it comes in at the bottom. Next up is this little guy from Essence. This palette pleasantly surprised me. This is the Coral Me Maybe eyeshadow palette, and this is so cute. This palette was for sale at Ulta for $2.99. That's less than $3, barely less, but still less than $3. So I was curious, like, how good can it be for $2.99? And I thought this was really nice. For me, it's coming in lower in the ranking because this is a very gently pigmented palette. It's very pretty. It can create some very soft coral type of looks, but this is a monochromatic palette. There's not a lot of options in here. It's very nice though. If you bought this, I bet you love it. I think it's super nice. I don't know how much I will reach for it, just because I have some formulas that I like better. I like a little more intensity, but these are buildable shadows. You have 3 mattes and 3 shimmers. For $2.99, I think this is a great palette. I don't think anybody who has this and tries it will be disappointed. Somebody asked me if there was a duochrome in this palette. They were talking about this shade right here. I don't see it. I feel like it's a peachy gold shimmery shade. It is very pretty, but I would not call it a duochrome. I do think this is nice. Again, the mattes are buildable, they're blendable, the metallics are pretty. It's just overall a very soft type of palette. Okay, next up I have a palette from DD's Signature. DD's did send me their new Fruit Skewer collection, and I do have a video up showing looks. I'm pretty sure I have a video with all of the palettes I'm going to show you today, but I'm ranking this palette kind of towards the bottom, not because of quality. This is the Tropical Skewer palette. This is a great palette. It has 4 mattes and 2 metallics. The only reason I'm ranking this a little bit lower or towards the bottom of this ranking is because this isn't a color story that I'm gonna reach for all the time. With DD's Signature, with their colorful mattes, I find these to be a very buildable formula. So when you go in with one dip, you're not gonna get this harsh pigment that's very hard to blend out. You're not going to be struggling to work with these. These are the type of formula that you can dip your brush in and out, and you can really build the mattes to how you want them, which I find to be very easy to work with and pretty beginner friendly, because like I said, you're not going to get that hit of color that's kind of hard to blend in. You can dip back and forth and you can really just pack on the shades and blend it to where you get the look that you want to with this palette, which I think is really nice. The metallics in here are very pretty. This blue and orange color story just isn't something that I'm gonna reach for all the time, so that's the only reason I'm ranking it a little lower. Next up, we have the Caramel Skewer palette from DD's. This palette is really special because you have 2 duochrome, almost triochrome, multi-chrome type of shades. This shade right here, Current Apple, is just really pretty, and it kind of shifts from a blue, green to purple shade. Again, you have 3 mattes with those 2 special shades in here, and once again, you have very buildable, easy to work with mattes that I think anybody would really enjoy. Why is it that I always seem to dip my fingers into the shimmery, metallic type of shades? I just can't help myself. I love doing swatches so much. Okay, next up, I'm going to put in my BH Cosmetics Amalfi palette. This is a new palette from BH, maybe. If you watched my video, I think I did 2 looks with this palette, and it seems like this is Chillin' in Chicago in new packaging with new names. I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm going to talk about this palette how it is, because Chillin' in Chicago is no longer available. This is a beautiful neutral palette. I think it's very pretty. You have some warm neutrals up here, and then you have some more kind of mauve tones with the yellowy golds down here. So for a neutral palette, I do feel like you get some variety in here. It's not just all browns. Of course, you do have these browns here, but again, you have these more pinky tones to where you can create a rosy neutral look, and then you can dip into this bottom row right here to get some more yellowy golds. There's also this bright orangey type of shimmer here, so you could mix it with this shade. I feel like BH Cosmetics did a really good job of mixing mattes and metallics and different tones to make this not another boring neutral palette. In my opinion, it's not one note. You can create variations of neutral looks, if that makes sense. Of course, this is not a colorful palette, so every time you use it, you are going to get something neutral, but I like that there's some very light shimmer shades in here. There's some mid-tone mattes, and then you do have a dark brown matte as well. Overall, I think this is a hit for BH Cosmetics. I personally like the new packaging. I think it looks very sleek, very nice, and I mean, BH always has a great price point, and this is really good quality. Next up, I have the Exotic Skewer palette from DD's Signature. Again, these palettes do all have a mirror in them. You have 4 mattes with 2 more special shades. This shade right here, I find very pretty. I do have some similar shades to it in my collection though. That's why it's ranking a little bit lower, just because I feel like some of the shades aren't super unique, but I do feel like, again, the quality is very nice. Again, when you pick up a matte, you're not going to get wham bam pigment. You are definitely going to get pigment, but you're going to be able to build on top of it. I can't say that enough when it comes to DD's. I feel like with these Skewer palettes, the Skewer collection that they came out with, the quality and the consistency across all 4 palettes is really nice. So if you're looking to try the brand, just pick the color story that calls to you the most, and I think you'll be really happy with your palette purchase. I mean, look, I love greens. Hello, I'm wearing green today, and this is just a really pretty collection of greens with the pops of pink and purple. The Juicy Skewer from DD's. I love this color story. Honestly, I love this color story. That's why it's ranking higher than the others. It's just personal preference. I was just looking, I have shadows all over my fingers. It's personal preference. I love this color story. There's something that's so special to me about a red shadow, a pink shadow, and I love that I get a very deep red wine type of color. I get a bright red, I get a red shimmer, I get this kind of shifty pink gold shade right here. I get a bright yellow, which is super fun, like this neon-esque type of yellow and a pink. Overall, this is my favorite of the 4 palettes. I feel like this color story is the best. I like all the shades in here. It's my favorite. Next up, I have my Natasha Denona Mini Xenon palette. I really like this. I think this was a perfect addition to the Natasha Denona line. For me, I feel like this goes perfectly with my Glam palette that I have from Natasha Denona, because I have a black, I have these 2 other matte grays, I have a beautiful cream, and a stunning metallic silver. I have actually reached for this palette so much to mix with my other palettes. I actually use black eyeshadow a lot. I like to use it to deepen up other matte colors. I like to use it as eyeliner. I just think it's such a useful shade. Now this palette, when you swatch it, it is not impressive. It does not swatch well, but I'm telling you, on the eyes, it blends like a dream. And as much as I love swatching makeup, putting it on the eyes is what I love the most, and this palette looks so beautiful. The matte blends so well. It's just so easy to work with, and that is very important to me. This silver, I think, is absolutely amazing. I love this palette so much. For $25, I'm so happy with my purchase to have 5 beautiful Natasha shadows. Coming in at number 4 is my BH Cosmetics Peridot palette. This is the Birthstone palette that was released for August. Every month, BH Cosmetics is releasing these 9-pan eyeshadow palettes, and I've tried every single one. This one is amazing. I love the color story of this palette. First of all, I love the big Peridot shade. I don't care about the glitter. Honestly, if this had been replaced with another shadow, this palette probably would rank higher for me, but I just don't care about that little glitter. It's just such a good creation of a color story. I cannot say that enough. This dark green matte, this bright yellow matte, kind of a pinky peachy, this neutral, and then the 2 shimmer shades are so special. Green's my favorite color. I can't say that enough, and we're gonna see more green as we go, but this is so beautiful, and this palette is $9. I can't get over that. The quality in this palette is amazing. The matte's amazing. The metallic's amazing. I love everything. I love this palette. Everything except that pressed glitter. I wish we could get rid of that. I don't think it's going to happen. BH seems to love it, but I love how sleek and compact this is. I love the color story. I love the quality. I love everything about this palette. Okay, I really feel like y'all are going to be surprised with my top 3 with how they ranked. Maybe not. If you have your guess, please let me know down below, because I feel like y'all know me. I feel like y'all will guess these, but I also kind of feel like y'all will be surprised. Number 3 goes to the Wilderness palette from by BEAUTYBAY. I really like the BEAUTYBAY formula, and when I saw this color story, I expected to love it, and they did not disappoint. I really enjoyed this. I created 2 looks on my channel. I've been playing with it off camera too. I just love playing with makeup. I wish I could tell y'all how much I play with makeup. You think I upload a lot of videos? I'm doing a lot of looks off camera too. Even a lot of times before I go to bed, before I wash my face for the night, I'm putting on eyeshadow looks just to test things out, just to play. I love this palette. I know some people have said they feel like the BEAUTYBAY shimmers crease on them. I don't experience that. I don't have that issue, so I really love this palette. I love the curated color story. Again, you're gonna hear me say that so much because I feel like that's what can really draw me to a palette, is did they pick and choose the right shades to keep in a palette? And I love that they mixed these kind of fall foresty tones with these sky blues. I just think it all comes together so perfectly. I like that you have a very light shade in this palette, so you can lighten anything up if you want to, just mixing it with that cream. You also have these deep blue, deep green, you have this deep red. I think this is a really, really, really pretty palette. I've seen BEAUTYBAY say that they're trying to restock this palette. If it is in stock, I will have it linked down below. I'll have everything that I talk about linked down below for y'all. This is really good. And this palette is $15. $15, and you get this many great shades. There's a mirror in this palette. I love the outside design. I really enjoy everything about this palette, and I can't wait to see what BEAUTYBAY comes out with next. Coming in at number 2 is Pat McGrath Labs Utopian Dreams. This is one of her large and in charge mothership palettes. This is heavy. This is luxurious. Like, everything about this screams expensive luxury, which for Pat McGrath prices, it should. This palette, it's so pretty. It's so beautiful. I love Pat McGrath shadows. The mattes, even though there are only 3, they're so smooth and blendable. I personally love that Pat McGrath doesn't put a ton of mattes in this palette, but she focused on the shimmery special shades. There is kind of a multi-chrome shadow down here. I'll kind of tilt it up so you can see in the mirror. Sometimes you can see her shifts in the mirror better, but you have these beautiful sparkly shades, especially this one right here, the purple. I have been asked a couple of times if I feel like I have a dupe to this shade, and I don't. I really don't. I know I have a lot of special shadows in my collection, but I don't feel like I've duped this in any other palettes. I really like the color story. I like the coral. I like the purple. This shade right here, again, I see comments a lot of like, oh, is that a dupe to the Pat McGrath? Is that a dupe to the Pat McGrath? And my answer is always no, no, no. It's so beautiful. Now, of course, I don't think you have to pay Pat McGrath prices to get beautiful shadows. I mean, I've spent the last while here telling you about great shadows that are not this expensive, but I do feel like Pat McGrath does her own formulas and her own shadows and her own special shadows very well. I just think this is beautiful. I've reached for this palette a lot. I've worn this palette to work. I think it's just so pretty. I really like the pink rosy tones mixed with the purples. I think it's beautiful. Again, I love this luxury packaging. It feels very special and unique to me. Okay, the number 1 palette, you know it had to be Alien Cosmetics Not Normal. I love this packaging. I think this is so cute. This has definitely been the palette I've reached for the most out of any of the palettes I've talked about. I have been reaching for this palette. Now, I actually bought this palette and then Alien Cosmetics sent me one too. So I bought it and I had one sent to me. So just so y'all know, I love this. I love the big mirror in here. Look at this color story. This is stunning. This is a very unique color story to me because it doesn't have pinks in here. It's not mostly neutral. This is really a neutral and colorful palette. I would say it's really mostly, I mean, it's a colorful palette with 3 neutrals in it, because when you take this away, you just have color. I'm wearing this on my eyes today, and I'm actually wearing falsies today too. I'll link everything on my face down below. Y'all know I normally don't wear false lashes, so I keep like checking myself because I just hardly ever wear them, but I feel like today's look called for it. These shadows are gorgeous. You only have 4 shimmery metallic shades in here. The rest are matte, and these are beautiful matte shades. Like I said, I have worn this so much, even just on quick looks. These 3 mattes paired with any of the shimmers, beautiful, beautiful. You can use this kind of purpley shade over here to create kind of an elevated neutral type of look, or you can mix it with the purple and really bring out the purple tones in here. Today I'm using Exercise Emerald. I actually mixed emerald with smoke to create some depth out here. I really like that this palette has a matte cream shade that you can use with any of the other mattes to kind of lighten them. And it has this matte smoke shade that you can mix with the mattes to deepen them. I think that is so well thought out. I just love it. Plus, greens and purples. Hello. I'm so into it. The quality is amazing. I feel like Alien Cosmetics gets better and better and better. Every time I try one of their products, I like it more and more and more. This brand, y'all, do not sleep on Alien Cosmetics. I think they're so nice. I love this sage green down here. Like, this is such a pretty, unique shade. Oh my gosh, I'm running out of hand space. It's so beautiful. This palette makes me excited about matte shadow, and y'all know I'm a shimmer type of girl. Of course the shimmers in here are beautiful, but the mattes are just so easy to work with. I enjoy this palette so much. Alright y'all, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing my ranking, and I really hope that you like palette reviews, because I love doing first impression videos. I love creating looks, but I love following up after I've used the palettes multiple times and I really have my full thoughts on them. I love coming back and telling you really what I think of these palettes. I will say I have my Melt Blush in Buzzkill as my blush and highlight today. On my lips, I'm just wearing lip liner and gloss. I have on my Juvia's Place Sweet Nothing and Lawless Forget the Filler gloss. I want to know, what was your #1 favorite palette from the month of August? Did you shop your stash? What palette were you reaching for over and over and over again? I want to hear, what's your #1 palette from the month of August? Did you try any duds? Let me know. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please share it with your friends, family, social media, anybody who you think would enjoy my content. It honestly helps me out so much when y'all share my videos. But I will see you very soon in another one. Bye!